Hello, yes. Welcome back to the Ramswriter podcast. Hope everyone is doing wonderfully well. Summertime is here, sun's out, fun's out, and all that. Um, so, if in case you're new to the show, my name's Simon. I am your host, and today then we will be discussing a heck of a lot. Big thank you to all those that got your questions in. You've basically written my show for me. Obviously, as you're well aware, normally what I do is give you my own piece, and then I go through your questions. But I have that many questions of yours to go through. I can basically make a show out of it. So, obviously, the season was back. Pre-season, started yesterday. First pre-season game against Peterborough at St George's Park. So the first question then, it comes from Instagram from Lucy Hackett. Lucy, how are you? I hope you're doing well. So Derby then played Peterborough. Lucy says to me, what do you think of our first pre-season friendly? Some youngsters are going to be amazing for us. Yeah, so the first pre-season friendly then, we went 1-0 down in the space of about 2 minutes. Wasn't really, I guess, what we expected. But yes, let's remember this is just a pre-season friendly. It's nothing, it doesn't mean anything. It's just about getting your fitness. It was good to see Jack Marriott back on the pitch. He got himself a few chances, unfortunately. Couldn't find the back of the net, sadly. But yes, the youngsters, Max Bird, Lewis Sibley, Whittaker, all started in the first half. And it was the aforementioned Lewis Sibley that equalised after about 16 minutes, giving it 1-1. Now, I didn't see the game. I did pay for it from Posh TV, but it wouldn't let me stream it for whatever reason, but never mind, eh? So it's a bit hard to sort of comment on how the game went. Just had to sort of look at updates on DCFC site, which was, quite hard. But yeah, again, we had the likes of Lee Buchanan. He started the first half. So basically what they did, they mixed it up. Two different sides of 11 in the first half. One in the first half, one in the second half. And so we won 2-1. The first half then had pretty much a lot of the first team players in. There was no Lawrence. There was no Bielik. Obviously, I think both were injured. Obviously, Tom Lawrence still recovering from his shoulder injury. Bielik, obviously, his knee injury. But there's no Holmes and no Waghorn. Unsure why not. Nothing sort of come out from the club or anything to say or to discuss anything regarding that, to be honest. But the second half was full of kids, academy graduates. Ola Ibrahim, Man United Academy star that we've signed, 16 years of old, showed some great footwork in the box before laying off for Festi Ebusele, who smashed it into the bottom corner, making it 2-1. And yeah, so that was it. It was basically an academy side we put out. We also saw the first site. We also got our first site, of Mike Taveric, which was nice. Didn't really have a great deal to do, from what I've been told. Just did what he had to do. Really, but we weren't really threatened much or pressured or anything like that. But again, it's pre-season. It's this, especially the first game. It's just about getting those fitness levels back. Obviously, we've had a short turnaround since the end of the season, so fitness should still pretty much be there. So thank you, Lucy. Yeah, some of our youngsters are going to be amazing. We did see, we saw how good the ones that came through last season can be, and again, hopefully, we're going to filter more through this season, and we just got to see how it goes, basically, and just hopefully we can. See some more come through and progress as a team. So then, sorry, that's my bad. Mike Hunt on Twitter says, Mike Hunt 1884. Now, I don't know if that is your real name. If it is, I feel sorry for you. I will say it slowly so it doesn't sound rude. But it says, who would you like us to see in it, bringing it right wing? I'm not really sure, to be honest. I've not really looked at wingers. I mean, Jamal Lowe, obviously a prospect from Wigan, I believe it is. He looks like he could fit the bill. I believe he's a right winger. Could be wrong. Could be lying. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah. So no. Yeah, Jamal Lowe looks a potential product. Whether we're in for him, is he going to cost us? I don't know. Again, sort of young player. So he's one I would potentially like to see us go for, I guess. Next question then is Brightside Ram on Twitter. What is happening with Marshall, and will Panzo sign? So, yeah, good question. Very good question. And really, it's difficult to answer, if I'm honest. So we got the news on Tuesday that it was from it was broken by John Percy from the Telegraph, who is normally pretty much 99% accurate about Derby County's transfer deals, who said Derby were basically set to announce that we'd sign David Marshall, 35-year-old goalkeeper from Wigan, on Wednesday, which was yesterday. Didn't happen. Not been announced. However, there was pictures of him at the Peterborough at the Peterborough game at the pre-season friendly. What looked like Marshall talking to Wayne Rooney. It was in a Derby County tracksuit. And the BBC reported as well that it pretty much looked all sort of said and done. Because we're going to look into offload players, and Derby are looking to obviously buy a keeper. However, the plot thickens because this morning, it was reported by Football League World that Bournemouth are now in for David Marshall, which, well, I think it took a lot of us by surprise, because when John Percy says things, it normally means it. Bournemouth this headline this morning came as Bournemouth making move to sign Scotland international in bargain deal. Well, okay. Now, they didn't mention anything about him going to Derby. It says an insider revealed. I'll get it right in a minute. Basically, a source at Dean Court at Bournemouth have said that the club have identified Scotland international Marshall as a replacement, are plotting to move to sign him in a cut price deal this summer. So, yeah, that sort of makes me feel, what's going on? Because it looked like he should have been our player. We looked like we were going to be signing him, and obviously it's not happening. Or I thought it'd be announced yesterday. We move on to today, which is Thursday, the 20th. Still not been announced, which is a bit bizarre because, like I say, John Percy, when it comes to transfers for Derby, is on bang on. So he's not one of them journalists you see on Twitter at the moment that seem to know every deal that's going off and then get about 10% of them right, but claim that they're in the know. So a bizarre one. And then, obviously, you mentioned we'll be getting Panzo. So Jonathan Panzo then. Yeah, if you don't know, Jonathan Panzo then is a 19-year-old centre-back, left-footed centre-back that can also play as a left-back, who's currently at Monaco. He joined from Chelsea, Chelsea's youth team. He was out on loan with Cercle Bruges last season. He has got 1 year left on his contract. And it was broken by a European newspaper, or basically like a big journalist a European journalist sort of thing. Well, I can't remember think of the word what it is now. It was broken by them, not yesterday. Yeah, yesterday, I believe it was, that Derby were interested in signing Jonathan Panzo. So, as you know, I've had Ryan Conway, who's a guest. He reports for The Athletic. He reports all things Derby. And he also said that, yes, Derby they've basically touched base with Monaco about signing Jonathan Panzo. Now, I've seen fees of around about 4 million dotted around. I've also seen fees of about 1.8 million as well plotted around. So currently Dijon are interested. They're obviously another French side. They're interested in buying him. And the fee was suggested around about 2 million euro, like I say, 1.8 million pound. But obviously when reported today, it's now looking at about 4 million potentially. So for me, that would be a cracking signing. Absolutely cracking signing. Young centre-back that's got first-team football under his belt, played regularly, week in, week out. Yes, it's not obviously in the Championship or anything like that. It is in the Belgium's top league, but it's a start. I think Tverik, that signing, I think we got a bit of a buzz because it was a foreigner. Foreigner sounds bad, doesn't it? Because it was a foreign player that was coming to play for us, and we'd not had that. We'd always looked at Championship players or Scottish players or League One players, things like that. And we, as fans, we wanted to change. So when I saw the Marshall transfer come in, I was a bit underwhelmed, to be honest. I thought all his keepers abroad. There's plenty of people on Twitter, Instagram, things like that, and Facebook that, I'll call, Jake Barker. You'll know him as Derby County Studio on Instagram. Jake Barker, I think it's 2121 or 1212, something like that on Twitter. He does a heck of a lot of designs. He does a lot of looking at at reports on players and things like that. And he found a load of free or cheap players or goalkeepers from abroad that could do a decent job. So I was just underwhelmed by the David Marshall link. Nothing, David Marshall, though, he's an experienced keeper, played in this league. I think he kept 15 clean sheets last season. So, yeah, he has got credibility in this league, no doubt. The only thing you can say is clean sheets don't necessarily make you a good keeper. If you face one shot on average per game and you keep a clean sheet, then, well, you'd expect that. If you're facing 10 shots on average per game and you kept 15 clean sheets, yes, then you can say, well, look how many clean sheets I've got. Look how many average shots I have per game. You know what I mean? So it is a bit hard to sort of call that one. So, yeah, going back to obviously the Panzo signing, which is potential. Yeah, we have obviously inquired and I believe spoke to Monaco about it. But obviously there's no movement on that as such, which, is we've just got to be patient, I guess. It's a shame, really. Tyler Taft too says, with the news just coming about Leeds being charged, what do you say about that? So, yeah, that's silly, really. So, Leeds United then have apparently been charged by the EFL for their celebrations after their match against us because they used pyrotechnics and didn't conduct themselves in an ordinary manner. So what? Come on. The team had just won the championship. So they've been promoted, won the championship, and they're not allowed to celebrate. There's no fans there. There's no one there. Yeah, they bought pyrotechnics in, but, they're not hurting anyone, are they, really? Come on, get a grip, EFL. At the end of the day, the Leeds have said, yeah, whatever, we'll take the fine, not bothered. I don't blame them. They're in the Premier League now. They've got the money to pay for it. They can afford it. It's no big issue. They're not bothered. It just seems to me a bit petty. It feels like the EFL are just going, let's have one last pop at Leeds before we get rid of them into the Premier League. It's just very, very petty. Chris Barker, Fiction Chris, who is my brother-in-law, says, "What happened to your chin? Did it fall off just before you took the picture?" Adam Cousins, who's my best mate, any chance you can go around and hold it for him? The reason being is if you saw that, obviously you guys have seen. If you saw the picture, I did like a thinking face where you hold the chin. No, my chin didn't fall off. You absolute arse. Well, thanks for caring. Thanks for asking questions. Like I said, I do answer most questions that I get asked here. So, yeah. Whatever, mate. Carl Leppington Melody says, have we signed David Marshall? As far as I'm aware, whilst recording this, no, we haven't. Nothing official. Like I said, it was at the Peterborough game yesterday. In Derby County tracksuit. It's not been announced. However, had he not signed the contract, just done his medical, I don't know, maybe waiting for final figures or something like that, something daft. I don't know, and not signed the contract. And then Bournemouth have come and said, look, we'll offer you this instead. The Bournemouth rumours really, like I say, Football League world, they're very, 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 very hit and miss with their reporting sometimes. However, there's always that possibility, always that chance that somebody else could come in, and the way things are with Derby at the moment, especially financially and the way Bournemouth are, they've just lost a keeper, they need a keeper. They've obviously got more money as well from, obviously, you get rewarded, I suppose, for being relegated at times. They could obviously afford to pay his wages. Probably more than we can. So without Derby County saying, yes, we've signed him, no, we've signed him, I cannot give a clear answer. Until it's over the dotted line, until Derby County have announced it, regardless of what all journalists say, for me, until Derby County have made that announcement, look who's joined us, or, new signing, then for me, they're not a Derby player until Derby County confirm it. They are not a Derby County player. Next then is Michael 170-22126, who says, Coco has some decisions to make, which is good. Let's say we play the same formation 4-2-3-1 with Bird, Wazza, and Sibbo. When all fit, who fills in the spots around them? Very harsh to drop the likes of Knight and Holmes. The same with Lawrence and Waggy, who got the goals. Mike. Right, okay. So, I'll do it as current squad then, essentially. For me, then, it's got to be Roos in goal. That was another point as well. I'll touch on that near the end of the show. I go Roos in goal. Left back, I think I quite like to start Lee Buchanan at the moment. I just think I've seen. I thought he saw some of his runs yesterday in the highlights of the game on the left hand side. I think he might be a bit. He's not bad defensively as well. I just think I want to start with young lads. Let's get them out there, test them, see what they're like, especially for the first game of the season. Centre backs then would be Taveric and Wisdom for me, no doubt. Right back, Jaden Bogle. And then what you're saying in the middle, then Bird, Wazza, and Sibley. So then that obviously leaves the left-hand side, the left wing, right wing, striker. So for me, then Lawrence on the left, Waggy on the right, and Marriott up top, which is a tough call because obviously Jason Knight found a great bit of form at the end of the season. But I just think we have got a young squad and we need experience around them as well. I think, yes, you've got Rooney in their experience. Yes, you've got Taveric in their experience, Wisdom in their experience. I just think we need some experience up top. And I think Waggy will provide that, to be honest. And I think, Marriott, like I say, Marriott up top. We've got no Chris Martin now, as far as we know. No Chris Martin. So, for me, I think Marriott I think now Marriott's hopefully fit. He's over his injury problems. I'm hoping we can get a fit, fast-firing Marriott again for next season. So yeah, good question, Mike. George Aspinshaw says, whilst I'm feeling positive about the upcoming season and the new signs of Taveric and David Marshall, it does worry me on this looming threat of an EFL charge potentially plunging us into the deep moat. Yes, obviously we've not signed Marshall yet. It's not official, but yep, Taveric is here. And yes, I get exactly what you're saying, without doubt. Because we've still got this EFL charge on us. And then today, well, we don't know what's happened with the EFL charge, but then today the Daily Mail then reported Derby County set for another inquiry into alleged breaches of EFL rules as club faces threat of multiple points deductions over £80 million sale of Pride Park and now the £30 million loan from equity firm. Yeah, it's getting to the point now where it's getting really, really frustrating. We are, 2-3 weeks away from the start of the season, and we've still got this hanging over our heads. Now, let's be honest, this happened 2 years ago now. 3 years ago, is it? I can't remember when we sold the stadium. It must have been the season before Lampard come, so that's 3 years ago now that we sold the stadium. Yet this is still hanging over our heads. This is still continuing to blight anything that we're trying to do going forward, because the EFL cannot pull their finger out of their arses and conduct something, and they're constantly changing their mind, they're constantly changing the rules. You know, it's like Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday, they've been done not for selling the stadium, but because they put it in their books the year before they sold the actual stadium. So the EFL rightly said, you can't do that, that's against the rule. However, again, that is taken a year or two to be sorted and to be done with. Now, they've got a points deduction, which happens to be, which they will get at the start of next season, minus 12 points. The EFL originally wanted to dock them points last season. However, an independent panel said, no, you can't, because it would see them relegated. So what? Why shouldn't they be relegated? No disrespect to Sheffield Wednesday, but they obviously broke the rules. They should be given the 12-point fine, and they get relegated. Derby, if they were to get a points deduction, again, wouldn't get it this season. Why? Because they wouldn't have felt the effect of it last season. They wouldn't have gone up, and they wouldn't have gone down. So, this was 3 years ago. And it is still going on now. It's pathetic. And the thing is, Derby sold their stadium for £80 million, right? The EFL signed it off. The EFL said, yeah, that's fine. It's good to go. They then backtracked and went, hang about, no, we've had a valuator evaluate, and they valued it at 40 million or 50 million, whatever it was. I cannot remember the price now, but that's besides the point. The EFL signed it off. So what they're going to do, punish us because they made a mistake. Can't do that. Genuinely can't do that. And it's infuriating now. 3 weeks away from the start of the season. We want to get on with our season now. We want to start our season, get it going. We cannot do that properly, I feel, because surely it's hard to tempt a player to come to Derby knowing that they've got the potential points deduction on them, which could be 12 points. You know, if what Daily Mail is saying is true, that you know, we could be getting, some EFL clubs have moaned that they're not happy that we've had a £30 million loan. Well, let me get this straight, because they're reporting 30 million. However, our local paper are saying it's more, probably in the region of 15 million. Again, nobody knows. Everything is too quiet at Derby at the moment. Everything is too quiet. The fans are in the lurch. They don't know what's going on with season tickets. Again, partially not the club's fault, because we don't know what the government are going to say about COVID and all that, and when we're going to let fans come back into the ground. No, that's fine. You know, I get that. But the club need to start communicating. They are far too quiet. There was barely a peep from the club when it came to the friendly against Peterborough. It wasn't on Rams TV. The fans at the moment, we feel like we're in the lurch. You know, people have paid money for their season ticket that they may not get to use this season. You know, and yeah, fair enough. Derby County made schemes where you get a discount on it, or you get money back, etc. Some people haven't received a refund that wanted a refund. and nothing. I understand that they can't say a great deal because there's a case going on, but an update of some sort, even if it's just, we're still going on with it, we're still awaiting the case, we don't know how long it's going to be. Even that would settle a lot of nerves. But we're just getting nothing. It's far too quiet. A couple of years ago, we used to know every little thing that was going off at Derby, which, was it a good thing? Was it a bad thing? It's probably a good thing because it's nice to know what's happening at your club. Now you get nothing. Absolutely diddly. The last time we saw Mel Morris was when Rooney signed. After that, it was in the Birmingham game, after the drink drive incident, when he apologised to the fans. What is going on at our club? Everybody wants to know, and we're getting no answers. And I don't think I'm the only one that's getting frustrated about that. Sorry, excuse me. Mark Coote then says, with the start of the season looming, time for a few predictions. Oh, Mark, you've hit a cracker here, son. Where will Derby finish, assuming there's no points deducted? Predicted player of the season and breakthrough youngster of the season. Good luck. Mark. That's harsh. That's very harsh indeed. So, barring a points deduction, it's tough as well because we don't know if we're going to get transfers. But seeing how well our kids performed last season, I keep saying kids, I shouldn't really call them kids, they're not, are they? They're 18, 19. Judging by the fact that we've finally got another manager, we've finally got the same manager who's had a full season with us. He's implemented his tactics, so they're halfway there, or over halfway there. The majority of the players are going to know how he wants to play and what he wants to do. I think we can make top 6. Personally, I think with a good couple of additions, we could potentially challenge for top 2. I think this is going to be the best season to do it, regardless of who's come down, your Norwich, your Bournemouth and your Watford, simply because of the fact that I think the transfer window is going to be quite quiet and there's not going to be a lot of big deals for teams to sort of go and exploit and especially the fallen Premier League teams to go and exploit that and go get a load of decent players. I think it's going to be a very average, I'll say average, very average season. Again, everyone says the Championship last season was very weak, very poor. No, the thing is, this is what FFP and P&S or what Profit and Sustainability has done. It's evened the league out now. So you can't get that financial advantage. So you cannot, it's got to be down of how well your team plays. That is why anybody can beat anybody in this league. And that is why we all love the Championship. So I'm going to go Derby, you're going to finish top 6. Is that enough, or do you want an actual position? Because that I'm not guessing. Okay, 4th. All right. Behind Watford, Bournemouth and Norwich. Predicted player of the season. Mark, how am I supposed to do that? In fact, no. Okay, let's go. Jack Marriott's got long hair again. So Jack Marriott's bagging the golden boot. Jack Marriott's going to be a very important player for us this season. You heard it here first. He's winning the golden boot. He's going to be player of the year. He's going to be fit all season. He's going to keep bagging and bagging for fun. He's going to get his first goal on opening day. That's what he's going to do. First goal on opening day. And he's going to hit form and go boom. He's going to get his confidence. Boom, 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 boom. He's going to get some running goals going. We're going to have a 20-goal a season striker again in Jack Marriott. That's what I'm predicting. Breakthrough youngster of the season was, mate. I'm going for the goal scorer yesterday. I'm going for Festi Ebisele. I've watched him now for the past couple of seasons in the under-23s, and he's been immense. And I thought, this guy can step up. And it's also, if he can step up, it's going to be a good test for Jayden Bogle. The thing is, I think Ebisele can actually play on the wing as well, can play right wing, which is handy. So you might imagine having him and Bogle on the right-hand side, this pace, mate. There's one thing as well about our youngsters in that academy. We seem to be blessed with pace. I like the look of that, from what I saw of that Ola Ibrahim from Manchester United as well. He looked very good with the ball at his feet, and he's 16. And I think, is he going to play first team this season? Jude Bellingham did it last season for Birmingham. So why not? So potentially him. So yeah, good question, Mark. Thanks for that. You made me think, didn't you? Here we go. Jason Ive says, is it practical to think of putting Marriott on the wing? No. No, I think Koku tried it last season occasionally. Not for me, no. Get him down the centre, get him in the penalty box, get him banging goals. He's not that sort of player that's going to take players on. You know, Jack Marriott wants the ball in the box, 6 yards out, 12 yards out. Let me stick it away. That's what Jack Marriott is. You know, he's that instinctive finisher. I think we'd lose him out on the wing, to be honest. Drew Gentry says, looks like there could be yet another EFL points deduction. If it plays out, how many total points do you think would be deducted? And is a scenario with multiple deductions able to overcome? So, yeah, obviously going back to what the Daily Mail reported earlier on today about the points deduction. Yeah, obviously I've just had a little bit of a rant about it, so I won't go over it again. If there's multiple points deduction, I cannot see a way around it. Say if they gave us 12 for, if they gave us 12, let's say they gave us 12 for the sale of the ground thing. Let's say we give 12. Possibly, I think we can overcome that. We can't lose too many games, but I do think we can overcome that. If we were to be added something like 6 more points, 18 points is a big, big, big ask. And unless I think if we win every single game, I think we will find ourselves in League One if that happens. Which is, yeah, it's basically the EFL saying, stuff you, in the nicest way possible. I could have said something else then, but I thought I better not. Yeah, we can't. I genuinely believe if this is real, if this is true, what the Daily Mail have written, that we could face a multiple points deduction, then we are in serious, serious shit. Excuse my language, but we are. There's no way that we will be getting. I wouldn't be able to see a way back if we got something like an 18 or 21 points deduction. They might as well just relegate us now. Again, though, you know, we only time will tell, I suppose, which is a very, very annoying thing. Jason Ives again. How is the team borrowing money against a stadium it doesn't own? Are you on about the loan? I don't think they're borrowing it against the stadium. It's essentially, I think we had about a £15 million mortgage. Mel's obviously bought that, and his business is paying that off. So this is why the Derby and Telegraph said they reckon it's more of a £15 million loan rather than a 30 million loan. So I think it's basically, I know what you're saying. Yeah, Mel owes the ground, and that loan is against the stadium and the training ground, etc. So if we fail to pay that loan, so basically, if Mel fails to pay that loan, it goes across that. It goes towards our stadium and things like that. You know, they can just, it's very complicated. I'm not the best person to ask, in all honesty, about that. You need someone like Simon Jordan on that. He would definitely be able to tell you that. You know, that's his game, financial and football. Or Kieran Maguire, another person, he'd probably be able to tell you that as well. Sadly, I can't tell you that. I wish I could. I genuinely don't know. I'm not even going to try and waffle my way through that like I tried to do. And Jason Ives again. Why is the 11th richest man in England borrowing money for a team he owns? Is there more to this investment? Yeah. Yeah, it's a very, very good question indeed. So, Mel Morris, then, what a guy. It is, I guess, one of them things. I've been asking myself the same question. Why is Mel Morris, borrowing money? Okay, let's get to the truth then. I'm just sorry. For those who listen on the podcast, I am doing basically, because I'm doing this on YouTube as well, I'm trying to get some screen share stuff up. So that's why I was just stalling there a bit. Yeah, just stuff about Mel. I was just trying to get a big picture of Mel Morris up, but I couldn't find it. Never mind. So sorry about that, guys. As you know, I do this live, so there won't be any editing. It is what it is, basically. But yeah, back to the question then. Mel Morris. Good old Mel Morris. Yeah, so why is he getting a loan? That's a question I asked my dad. That's a question I've asked myself. I personally think I wouldn't say ran out of money. If it, like say he's 11th richest man in the world, in the UK, sorry. I just think he doesn't want to bankroll the club anymore. He has got himself into a bit of a mess, a bit of a pickle. And essentially he doesn't want to, he can't do it anymore. I think it's breaking him. And for me, could there be more to this investment? I hope so. No disrespect to Mel Morris. What he's done is what he's tried to do is incredible. Local man, a fan, obviously brought the club, had a 5-year plan. So that 5-year consisted of getting promoted in the first 2 seasons. Once you've done that, get in the Premier League, stay up. 4th year, get established in the Premier League. 5th year, look at challenging for Europe. That was his 5-year plan. That 5 year, I've said it before and I'll say again, that 5-year plan is done with now. It is over. The 5 years has passed. He's still in the Championship. We're no better off than we were before he took over, potentially in a financial worse state than we were when he took over. He's failed. My thought process was, after that 5 years was up, he was going to try and sell Derby County, for a big profit from what he bought it for. He wanted 60 million for it. He got offered 40 or 50, I think it was, at the start of last season. And he said no. He says, he's holding out for 60 million. For me, he's done. He can't do it anymore. It's too big. I think he's taken on more than he bargained for. Maybe showed a bit of naivety. He's a businessman, but business and football, 2 different things. You cannot run a football club like you run a business. So ultimately, he's failed. I genuinely hope there is more to this investment than just an investment, just a loan. I actually hope that this potentially could be the start of a takeover, because I think it's what the club needs now, just to steady itself, get itself back financially sound, and get us going forward again. I understand that Mel wants someone that's going to continue to implement what he started, but if a new owner comes in, and this is the risk you've got to take. If a new owner comes in, he potentially wants a different way of doing it. He might not say, no, I don't want the kids. Here's a wad full of cash. Go buy your way out the league. If we fail, potentially the manager's in the firing line. Or he might come in and go, yeah, you know what? Just crack on, carry on what you're doing, and we'll do this sensibly. We'll do this properly. Let's use our academy lads. I'll give you some money for transfers. I'll give you some, just some funding, just so we can sort of strengthen in areas that you feel we need strengthening. That would be the ideal situation. Clear our debts, start afresh, make sure we're well within FFP, and do it properly, do it right. Yes, it would be nice to sort of be like a Newcastle or Wolves and potentially, essentially buy the league. But we've tried that and we failed miserably. We failed because we brought standard championship players to try and get us in the Premier League. No disrespect to the players, but Bradley Johnson, players like Bradley Johnson, Stephen Warnock, Jacob Butterfield, Nick Blackman, Andy Vyman, they're not going to get you out of this league. No disrespect to players, very good players in their own, in their own rights. Jacob Butterfield obviously got a lot of criticism from us, but when he started for us, he was a good player. He got 10 goals in his first season. Bradley Johnson, another one, sort of was good when he first started, then tailored off, and then, by the time he left under Frank Lampard, I think most of us would have taken him back for another season. You're not going to get promoted with those sort of players, those sort of championship standard players. You need quality. But what also you need, and this is what Jamie Ward touched on Radio Derby a few weeks ago, is that team that was so close in 13-14 had a strong bond. There was no egos in that side. There was no one on massive money. They all wanted to play for each other. They all wanted to play for the club, play for the badge, play for the shirt on their back. Since Mel Morris took over, Jamie Ward was absolutely spot on. Since Mel Morris took over, people come here for a payday. Those days are now gone. So we've got to start again and do what we can and climb that table and try and get this club sorted and straightened out and doing it properly. Lewis Everett says, your thoughts on it with Jonathan Panzo? Obviously touched on this before. Yeah, spot on. Exactly the sort of player that I'm excited about. So what, he's English. Someone pointed that out to me on Twitter actually yesterday. He went, well, I went, because I put, yes, at last our scouts have got a passport. Way. And then he put, yeah, but it's still English. Oh, yeah, that's fine. I think we've got half of it right. We've looked overseas. I'd love Mel, if he's so close with Frank Lampard, to give him a ring and say, oh, Mel, Jody, can you have a word with Panzo? Panzo is another player altogether. With Jonathan Panzo. See if you can persuade him. Tell him what Derby's like, etc. and whatnot. Him, because they used to, he would have no doubt played under Morris, especially at Chelsea. So who knows? Regan Wilson, 18 on Instagram. Hey up, Regan, you're right, pal. He says, who do you think are Derby's... I'll put my teeth back in. He says, who do you think are the top 5 most talented players at Derby in order? Mate, serious? What a question that is. How can you ask such a question like that? So, now I'm going to say number 5. I'm going to put Wayne Rooney. Now, we all know he's talented. We all know how good a footballer is. Man United, England, top goal scorer. I'm putting him at number 5 in the list simply because of his age. And we saw what it was like after the lockdown. But he's definitely one of our most 5 top talented players. So he's number 5. Right, number 4. Let me think about that. I'll tell you what, Regan, mate, this is an absolute beast of a question. Either that or Derby haven't got that many talented players, one of the two. No. I'm oh, forgot about that. Number 4, I'm going to go Jason Knight. It depends how you define talent, because Jason Knight might not be the most skillful player, but he's one of the hardest working players I've seen at this club since Craig Bryson. So he goes at number 4 because he's clearly got bags that, he's got bags of energy, bags to offer. He's finding the net more frequently as well. So definitely Jason Knight. Number 3. Mate, I tell you what, mate. I tell you what. Number 3, I'm going Jayden Bogle. Yes, we've we saw last season that he drifts in and out of the season, let alone games. But there is clear talent in that boy. You know, we saw it under Lampard consistently how good Jayden Bogle can be. You know, full of pace. You know, he loves to take a player on. Likes a cheeky nutmeg every now and again. And is it 16 assists I think he's got in the last 2 seasons? Speaks for itself. Very, very talented player. Just needs to be more consistent with it. And that goal against Stoke, he took that like a centre forward, seasoned centre forward as well. Absolute thunder bastard that was. Absolute incredible goal. So yeah, Jayden Bogle. Number 2 and number 1 are very hard. But number 2, I'm going Louis Sibley. Extraordinary talent. When you hear number 1, you know it's a very tough call. But Louis Sibley is, for me, he's got everything. He's got grit, he's got determination, he's got strength, he's got power. He knows where the back of the net is. You know, he knows how to tackle. He's an absolute terrific player. Got a really good footballing brain. You know, I said to Shane Nicholson on Tuesday. Saw him in the gym. I said to him, I asked him the score. Told him the score. I said, "Oh, Derby 1-0, by the way." I said, "Louis Sibley scored." He said, said, "That boy's a real talent." And I said to him, "Who's got the better left foot?" I said, "You or him?" And he says, "I know him by miles, and he's got a footballing brain." So Louis Sibley definitely number 2 for me. So number 1 then, if you probably guessed it, but it has to go to our future captain, Max Bird. I think one of the reasons why I've chosen Max Bird at number 1 is because when I first saw him, I couldn't, you know, this is when he's being hyped in the under-23s. Wasn't seeing what all the talk was about. Maybe because I wasn't watching him as closely. Obviously, he had a couple of games in the first team last season, then at the start of this season, didn't see it. Again, thought, what is the hype about? However, he's come back and he's changed my mind. He is absolutely brilliant. His movement off the ball, always find himself, getting himself free, getting himself available to break down, to help get us starting attacks, gets in position to break down attacks, can play short balls, mid balls, long range balls, can shoot. We've not seen that quite yet, how good he can be with his shooting boots. I've seen it in under 23s. He's vocal, good in the tackle. You know, and for me, probably our most talented at Derby. I think Christian Bielik's another one that potentially could be in that list somewhere, but because he's not played a great deal, which is a shame, really, that's why he misses out. So, yeah, what a question, Regan. Unbelievable, mate. Matty Bailey on Instagram. Sorry, mate. I think I've actually answered all your questions. Any transfer rumours? Apart from the Marshall and Panzo rumours, no, not really. Again, it's the stupid season now, isn't it? You know, it's transfer rumours central, and you get a load of people on Twitter that come out twice a year, once now, once in January, that pretend that journalists, and they spout a load of bollocks. I think I saw Jamal Lowe we were linked with today from a guy that had like 21 followers, joined in August 2020. Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. So the weird thing is, we were linked with the likes of Lyndon Dykes, Stephen Fletcher. Was it Stephen Fletcher? Yeah. Morgan Fox. We were linked with them, apparently. Apparently, number 1 targets and all that crap. They've all gone to different clubs. Stoke, QPR. I'm very careful and very wary about what I read. I have, obviously, as you guys will know, I do speak to Ryan a lot. Good friends with Ryan, Ryan Conway, that is, from the Athletic. And if he tells me something, obviously, I will not give out any rumours that I've been told by somebody. One, Ryan doesn't tell me unless he's reported it. And two, if he did tell me before he reported it, I wouldn't. Nobody would know. It's not my place to do that. The same as well. Like I said, I've got family that work at the club. Again, there's things that they're not allowed to tell me. But or if it, even if it did accidentally come out, there was no way I could share it with anybody because that'll get them in a lot of trouble. So yeah, when it comes to transfer rumours, there's just nothing at the moment really that for me is believable. So the only people I really trust is Ryan and John Percy, and obviously if the Telegraph can report something that isn't from a different paper, then them as well. Thoughts on Derby's first friendly? I've answered that. Mel's 30 million investors. I've answered that. Leeds Pyro charge. I've answered that. Sorry, Matty. Good questions. Clearly, that was on what was on everybody's mind. Yeah. And two more then. One is from Jay Smith on Instagram, who, I'm going to answer this. He says, who's your favourite nephew? He's my nephew. I have got 1, 2, 3, 5 nephews, I think it is. I've got a big family, on my wife's side anyway. Yes, James, you're my favourite nephew. Is that what you wanted to hear? Do I not tell you often enough? Do I not take you to the Derby games? No. You are my favourite nephew, James. Well done on your GCSEs today, by the way. You passed them. Good lad. Get your head down now. Get yourself college sorted and get your life sorted, mate. Oh, you're becoming a big boy now. Final question then is from Roy Gibson. I'm just looking actually. I think I've been recording for about 50 odd minutes now. Yeah. So this is why I didn't write a show. You guys wrote it for me. So again, appreciate that. But last question then. This is Roy Gibson. Good old Roy. I believe Roy is one of my more senior fans. I'm sure he won't mind me saying that. Hello, Roy. Hope you're keeping well. Hope you're keeping safe during this time of shit and pandemic, COVID-ridden world. He says, since the 70s, big money from TV football has changed the game. The question is, are we going to be happy playing good championship football under a local owner, bringing along the youngsters and scoring some great goals? Or would we prefer a remote billionaire investor stepping in so we can attempt to emulate the likes of Liverpool and Manchester City? Yes. Good question, Roy. Very good question. I don't think we want to be playing championship football all our life, all these years. Look at Leeds, 16 years they've been out of top flight. What have we been out of top flight now? 12 years? 11 years, 12 years? As much as, as entertaining as a championship is, and as much as I love the drama of the championship, if a billionaire owner came in, bought us out, we got to the Premier League and ultimately won the Premier League and we're fighting for Champions League, yes. I would so much prefer that rather than Mel Morris trying to get us out of Championship with young players. It can be done. There's nothing saying we can't do it. For me, Derby probably has got one of, or if not the best academy in England right now. I'm not going to push it across Europe and things like that because I don't know what their academies are like. Obviously, we've not won any European Cups. We did obviously in the under-19s get through to Europe, I'm convinced that had we not, had the likes of Sibley, Knight, Whittaker, not missed out against Salzburg, I generally think we could have gone on to win that tournament. Then I would have been saying, yeah, we've got the best academy in the world. But I personally believe we have probably got one of, if not the best academy in. At one point this season, our under-23 was top of the Premier League 2. I think they finished fourth for the pandemic. Again, and this is it, you see, when you take out those players, the Sibleys, the Knights, the Whittakers, you do get that sort of, you will see obviously weaknesses coming to the side, and I think we finished 4th before they cancelled the season. So it can be done, but you know what? Now I've said that, it's a tough one to call, Roy. As I would love to see our youngsters get us into the Premier League, but then obviously it's how do you. The thing with the Premier League, it's basically all or nothing, isn't it? Really, then top 6 and you get something else, or bottom 3 and you get relegated again. That middle patch between 7th and 17th, what's the point? You know, it was 8th. I can't remember now. What's the point? It'd be nice, though. In fairness, let's think of it this way: if we did get to Premier League with the kids, and we were quite, safe, we weren't like chasing relegation, and we were nowhere in it, or we weren't looking at Europe. To get a cup run, I'd love to win the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup or something like that, because I can't imagine many of my younger listeners have seen. I've not personally seen us win a trophy. Roy would have done. I ain't going to say your age, Roy, but I can imagine you've seen us win quite a few trophies, if not probably all of them. So yeah, as much as it would be nice to see our youngsters. Okay. Let's say we get a billionaire owner who kept the thing for youngsters, but also bought like a few like top stars. Like, let's say can you imagine a team that had like the likes of Louis Sibley, Max Bird, Kylian Mbappe, for argument's sake, Neymar, Ronaldo, and Messi. Yeah, we'd not say no to that, surely. I wouldn't personally. Obviously, I know that's obviously really extreme. Jadon Sancho could have put in there as well, I suppose, another top player. But yeah, it's one of them, isn't it? It's a very tough question. There's no right or wrong answer, I guess. But yeah, I think I would. Of course, I'd love to have European football. That'd be amazing. But let's one step at a time first. But yeah, I think the money that's coming in, it's not helping the financial things with the EFL. The Premier League are their own brand now, and it's basically they're basically giving a fuck you to the EFL. There's lots of people talking about. Should the championship clubs, break away and form their own leagues? Get away from the EFL, because the EFL, they couldn't organise a piss up in the brewery. It feels like, you know what I mean. So it's a very tough decision. It's all about the Premier League football, isn't it? Sky Sports all about the Premier League. Yes, they do show a bit of Championship, but they don't show half as much. They don't give it half as much advertisement as they do the Premier League. So yeah, that is why obviously we all want to get into the Premier League. We all want to play the top clubs. We all want to see Pep Guardiola versus Philip Cocu in the Premier League. Jurgen Klopp against Philip Cocu, that'd be a good one as well. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer against Philip Cocu, easy 3 points. Well, actually, saying that, he beat us into it at Pride Park. Damn it! That was in the cup though. But yeah. I think we all want the Premier League. We want the big lights. We want the big names, the big clubs, the big superstars. I want to see Aguero score a hat trick against us. Not really. I don't want to see that. But I remember we played Hoffenheim, not a big club, they're decent sized club, but for the clubs in Germany, not the biggest. But at the time they had Serge Gnabry there, ex-Arsenal player. Pulisic said he'd never make it. Now looking banging in goals for fun for Bayern Munich. I was always a big fan of Serge Gnabry. So seeing him play live was brilliant. Loved that. Absolutely enjoyed that. So yeah, that's all your questions. 2 things I will quickly touch on though. First, I mentioned it last night in a video on Twitter. Mason Bennett started yesterday. Obviously, we all thought he was done with the club. We thought he was going finish his loan at Millwall and then come back. Once he was put on the team sheet, a lot of people said, we're like, get out of my club, uproar. Because of the video he made, the burn one of Pride Park. I said it before, and I said it last night, right. If he comes and plays for this club, if he's picked by Philip Cocu, I will back the manager's decision. because there's obviously a reason why he's picked him. One, we've not got a wingers, and two, he actually might be doing a good job. And if he gets on that pitch and he works his bollocks off, I would get behind him. If he gets on that pitch and strolls about, can't really be arsed, which I'm sure he won't get behind him. I'll be like a lot of the other fans that are like just proper anti-Mason Bennett, shouldn't be here and all that. You know, that's just me. One club, one family. We're all Derby, aren't we? That's what we always say. As long as he's wearing a Derby County shirt, I will fully get behind him. He's not had the best time while he's been here. I thought, you know, we've seen what he can do, impact-wise, impact sub-wise. You know, we saw that against the likes of Wigan when he scored that red kick. West Brom, when he came on, scored that goal. Huddersfield, away, first game of the season under Lampard. And also Hull as well in the league, away. Impact sub. He needs to stay fit. That's one thing he needs to do. He just needs to get his head down and concentrate on his football. Stop with all the immaturity. You know, he's 24 now. He needs to start to grow up a little bit and start realising if he wants to be a footballer and he needs to start taking himself seriously and he needs to start taking his football career seriously. Otherwise, it is going to come to an end like that. And then Rumours. Was the other one. Obviously, I mentioned this earlier. So I said if we did buy David Marshall, if we did bring him in, I put on Twitter, would he be first keep choice or would he be second choice? Which I got, no, he'd definitely be first. All right, that's fine. I just put that just because I thought, we had an experienced keeper in Ben Hamer. Obviously, I know he was loaned. He came in last season. But he was on the bench. We've got an potentially experienced keeper coming in this season. Rumours is 27, and I know there's a lot. I know there's a lot of you that don't rate him. That's fine. You know, it's your opinion. You're allowed that. I personally think he's an all right keeper. He looked a lot better once he came back into the side for the last 3 games of the season. Looked a lot more confident, a lot better. Again, hasn't got the pressures of the fans behind him. I think that's one thing that's definitely will obviously cloud his judgment at times, I suppose, when it comes to commanding his area. And if we're starting the season without any fans, he's going to have that confidence still. You know, he's not going to worry about fans, worry about what the fans are doing. The fans are booing, clapping him, you know, sarcastically if he catches a ball. I mean, none of that. So it won't get to him. He's good with his feet. He can play out from the back. That's what Cocker wants. Great shot stopper. Very good shot stopper. Very agile, I think is the word. Very good agility. Very, you know, he's sort of like, dead limber. He always seems to get some sort of limb in front of the ball. There's a save he made yesterday in the game. He was sort of almost dived past it, but still managed to reach back and get his hand to it. So, yeah. So there is still a possible chance for Roos to start next season, even if we do buy David Marshall. However, having thought about it, yeah, he probably will be number 1. David Marshall, if he does come, just for that added bit of security. If he's not, he would definitely push Roos to be a better keeper and potentially, you know, obviously try and get that starting spot. So I knew that. I knew it. I knew as soon as I pressed tweet, I thought, "Oh, I'm going to get a crap here," and I did. And yeah, I get why. I understand. It's fine. So yeah, that is it. We are done. There you go. I've got an hour-long show, and I didn't even have to write that. You guys did it for me. So thank you so much for all of those that have brought your questions in. I hope I've managed to answer them. I hope I'm not bored you. If you're the first-time listener. And you're not following me, I'm on @Ramswriter on Twitter. Even if you are, you know, if you don't follow me, get following me. So yeah, @Ramswriter on Twitter. The Ramswriter podcast on Instagram. Search for the Ramswriter podcast on Facebook, and you will find my page there where I'll be posting this as well as lots of other groups. Also, I got to thank DCFC for Real Fans as well, who consistently let me post my podcast on their page. Without you, I wouldn't have been able to grow like I have. So thank you very much. And finally, thank you for Mystic Vape. UK. Go and follow them on Twitter if you're a vapor. Really good juice. Tried them out. Said, really good juice. Very quick delivery. I think I ordered it online with them, and they deliver it the next day. So spot on. Really good juice as well if you vape. So thank you for that. Go and follow them. I think they're at Mystic Vape UK on Twitter and at Mystic Vape UK on Instagram. Also, as well, if you would like to sponsor my sponsor me, my podcast, you can join my Patreon website, which is patreon.com/the Ramswriter. It's $3 a month. Like I say, it's just, there's nothing extra. It's just your way of saying, wow, I really like your work. Have a beer on me. Appreciate what you do. You don't have to do it. Like I say, it'll always be free. Which brings me to, remember, if you're watching on iTunes, listening on iTunes or Spotify, remember to subscribe, leave a comment on iTunes, leave a 5-star rating if you think I'm that good. Obviously available on all all podcast platforms. This one will be on YouTube. Again, youtube.com/the Ramswriter. I'm there. Remember to like and subscribe. And if you could, be really nice if you shared the link for my link for my podcast on either YouTube or Twitter or whatever platform you watch it on as well. That would be very much appreciated. Anyway, guys, that is a show done. We've talked about a lot considering it's close season. I've enjoyed it. I hope you guys have too. I should be back soon. Thank you so much for listening as always, and I shall see you next time. And as always, come on, Derby.